Hello everyone and welcome back. Hope you're having a great day and we're all doing well. So many of you have been requesting for me to do a tier list in Rainbow Six Siege, and with the new season currently on the test server, I thought now was a great time to do it. Now, I know all the operators are here, so from both attack and defense, but this video you're watching is only going to be for attack. I'm just going to be picking the attacking operators here. We are going to have another video for defense. So for this video, we are going to be focusing on attack. However, I will soon have a defender one as well. As always, when it comes to any tier list video, this is the opinion of the content creator themselves. You are perfectly allowed to disagree with any choice I make on this list, and you're welcome to argue your cause in the comment section below. I'm happy for a discussion. That is what the comments are for, and that's what makes tier lists fun. So we've got an S tier, an A tier, a B tier, a C tier, and a D tier. So we're just going to start from the start in alphabetical order. Of course, we're going to be missing out the defenders. So our first one is Ace. I don't think I'm going to have any argument when I say that Ace is an S tier operator. He's a very flexible hard breach. He has an incredible loadout. He is, pretty much vital for most attacking teams. He can be interchanged with Thermite, but there's some bits where Ace just shines over Thermite. For example, when you're attacking top floor on Chalet, it's just way easier and way safer to grab the upstairs office breach from outside on K9 balcony with Ace than it is to have to jump into mezzanine, stand on the wall with Thermite, and potentially get shot from, bottom fireplace, maybe nitro from below. It's just a lot safer to use Ace in a lot of locations. Doesn't mean Thermite is bad, but just in his current state, Ace is amazing. He's one of the best attackers they have ever added to the game, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of argument when I put him in S tier. Now, next up we have Amaru. Now, I'm going to put her in B tier. I could move her down to C tier because she isn't a bad operator. She's a great operator. Once again, she has a great loadout. She can bring the secondary hard breach charge. So I do think that she is useful. I just think, like, for the most part, unless you're going for a rush or unless you have a strat which is, directly around Amaru, she isn't the best. There's a lot of other great operators. Doesn't mean that Amaru is useless. I don't think hardly any of the operators in this game are useless by any stretch of the imagination. I just think, compared to the other operators, I think Amaru just sits in the middle, which I think is a fair judgment to make. Next up, we have Ashe. Now, Ashe is still one of the highest picked operators in the game. She has a great loadout. She has breaching charges. Her breach charge gadget itself, the ranged one, is very good at clearing utility. I want to put her in A. I know some people might not want her that high, but she is a very simple to use operator whose gadget is very good at opening walls and clearing utility, especially clearing utility, especially when operators such as Azami are that prominent. And I feel like a lot of people may not understand how to play Ashe correctly. A lot of people still see her as sort of that rushing operator who is only used for guns. She's not. She's actually a very good utility operator, and I think to put her in A is a nice little spot for her since she isn't, S tier. I don't think she's amazingly broken or anything like that, but I think she does her job perfectly fine. You can frag with her, and if you're going to play Ashe, there's a high chance that you can be successful with her. Now, next up we have Blackbeard, and I'm going to put him in C tier. Now, I'm someone who actually plays Blackbeard. Not so much this season. I'm recording this, by the way, in the test server for Operation Heavy Mettle, so when I say this season, I'm referring to Dread Factor. But last season in Commanding Force, I played a bunch of Blackbeard. Mainly just because I really liked his DMR. I did like being able to absorb that one shot to the head. Since in the higher ranks you are, the more likely you are to get headshotted. It did make that quite easy. Now, I know a lot of people see Blackbeard as useless. You're welcome to see that. I wouldn't say, utility-wise, I would say he is quite down there. The only reason I wouldn't put him in D tier, though, is because, one, I like playing him, but majorly because he also has the EMP nades as a secondary. I think I could put my, pride aside, even as a Blackbeard player, I could put him in D tier, but I think I can justify putting him in C tier since he does have EMP nades. So that is a little bit of a redeeming factor. I still think at his core, his gadget does need slightly addressed, but I don't think he, you can still make use out of Blackbeard. The EMP nades definitely makes him more of a support player. Right, the next attacker we have on this list is Blitz. Now, Blitz, I don't know what to say at this current point in time. My view on shield operators in this game is that they're just too clunky, and that's why they are getting a rework in Season 4. Now, we aren't in Season 4 yet, so we can't say anything about that, but when you're coordinating with a Blitz, he is a very strong operator. So I'm edging to B tier, but I kind of want to put him back down at C tier just because I feel like as a solo operator, like shield mechanics in this game currently, and I know they're reworking it soon, so this isn't like meant to be a diss, but I'm trying to justify my point here. I just feel like they're too unreliable for me to put him higher. So maybe when that shield rework does come out, he will be bumped up on the list. And I do think Blitz is a very good operator when you're coordinating with him. But to me, just because of how, inconsistent the shield mechanics are, sometimes you're a defender, you punch the Blitz and, nothing happens. He can punch you and then they end up getting stabbed first. I don't know, he's just too inconsistent at the moment, so I'm gonna keep him at C tier, I think, but I would really like to bump him up to maybe B tier when the shield rework does come out in Season 4. That is for every shield, by the way, so Fuse, Monty, and Blitz. I don't know if it'll do much to Clash. Maybe it will a little bit. Next up, we have Brava. Now, Brava is honestly an A tier operator, in my opinion. She can hack basically every defender gadget which is electronic. In the current test server right now, Legion can no longer be hacked by Brava. That is a change since Legion is now mechanical rather than electronic. I mean, it makes sense. It was poisonous needles. I don't understand why that was actually being able to be hacked by a mechanical drone. It was more for balancing reasons, but they've changed that now. But Brava, honestly, I've been really enjoying her since her release. I've been utilizing her a lot, basically getting a lot of default cameras, especially since operators like Fenrir was really high pick this season, and she is one of the main counters to Fenrir. As well as this, her loadout is great. She has the super shorty as a secondary, and we all know how important it is to have a secondary shotgun or basically anything that can make soft holes. You know, having a secondary weapon which has soft breaching capabilities is massive, and on top of her drones being able to hack stuff, those are 2 extra drones. So she has in total 4 drones with her 2 default ones, a great weapon, a great secondary weapon, great secondary gadget, and her gadget can hack defender utility. I think the only reason I'm not putting her up at S tier is just because she can be countered quite easily, and it does take quite a while to hack. Like operators such as Solus, Mute, and Mozzie have such a high pick rate, and it is quite hard for Brava to pull off a hack sometimes. So I think her being in A tier is quite a nice little spot because she is still quite hard to pull off, but it is high skill, high reward. But as well as this, she does bring a lot to the table, and I think A is a perfect spot for her. Now, I'm about to do one of the hottest takes ever here. I'm going to put Buck in S tier. Okay, now hear me out. Buck, at this current point in time, he has a strong AR for fragging capability. His gadget is the secondary shotgun on the underbarrel of his gun, so he has soft breaching ability. As well as this, he also has the secondary hard breach charge as his secondary gadget, meaning he's got hard breach ability. And he also has the gun 6, meaning he can also clear utility as well. Right now, Buck is currently a jack of all trades. This man alone can solo clear a vertical play, and I know Ram is sort of like a power creep for Sledge and Buck, but just because she is a bit better than them, I'm not going to, like, you know, push them down, because I feel like these operators should be used in unison, not as replacements. But like, Buck can do so much. He can literally do pretty much every role right now, you know, minus a few. But if you want an attacker, if you're a solo queue player and you don't trust your teammates, you know, trust me, I play in a stack most of the time, and when I go into solo queue, I want to pull my own hair out. If you go Buck, you can open up your own soft walls, open up your own hard walls, clear any shields or Kiba barriers you see, and you just have that great weapon to fall back on as well. So honestly, I see no downside to Buck. I think he's one of the best attackers in the game, and I'm sure a lot of you out there might agree with me. Next up, we have Capitao. I don't know where to put him. He's got a great weapon, he's got hard breach, his gadget is very useful. I want to put him in A as well, mainly because he does have the hard breach charge, and he is very good at clearing out certain locations such as rafters on Clubhouse. If you peek garage door and you flame bolt anyone who's playing there, especially since Azami is very common to be playing there now since she can provide extra cover, you can easily just push him out of that location. And other than grenades, there's not really any massive operators that can do that on attack. I mean, Grim, yeah, he can ping them, but it doesn't necessarily push them out of that location. It just reveals where they are. The Capitao forces them to move or they'll die, and as well as this, he also has the smokes as well. So he is a very strong operator. I kind of see him in the same case as Brava. I know they are cousins in the lore as well, and they both share the same primary weapon, which is quite interesting. But they're both very good operators, but you know, there's still a little skill, there's still like a little skill ceiling there. You do have to face check with Capitao. You can get it from below. There's a lot of different skill things you can do. You can bring hard breach. He is a great operator. I just feel like these operators just don't reach that S tier, but I think they're perfect. Like, I'm not saying they're weak. I don't think they should be, you know, buffed or anything. I think they're perfectly fine, but I just wouldn't put them in that S tier position. Skip over a bunch of defenders here, and we have Dokkaebi. That is an easy S tier operator in this current season. DMR absolutely shreds. She has the secondary SMG, which you can fall back on as well. She has EMP grenades, which is massive. She has the Gun 6. We've already explained how massive that is as well at clearing utility. She can call defender phones, making their position revealed with a sound alert. But the major thing which they've done, which was quite a recent buff to Dokkaebi, is the fact that when you call the defending team, not only does it push any alive defender off cameras, it also pushes all the dead defenders who are on cameras as well off those cameras. Meaning that the moment you trigger a Dokkaebi call, no one on the enemy team can go on cameras unless they're standing in the radius of a mute jammer. Considering how much intel there is on the defending team, especially with Valkyrie being a massive part, you know, you got bulletproof cameras, you got Valkyrie, you got Echo, you got Maestro, especially when you're in those late round moments and your team are going to go for a plan, knocking the enemy team off their cameras is absolutely incredible. You know, Dokubi's my most played attacker this season, and she's massively played in Pro League. Maybe expect her to lose like the Gon 6 or the EMP in the future. She isn't losing anything at the current point in time in Operation Heavy Mettle, which I'm surprised about. But yeah, that easy S tier. She's absolutely one of the best attackers at the moment. Next up, we have Finka. I'm going to put her in B tier. Now, she still is our only healer on attack, so it does make her very useful there. She does counter the debuff, which the new Frost rework gives you. If you put yourself out of the Frost mat and you start limping, she does counter that. As well as this, she helps when you walk inside of the radius of Fenrir. She completely cancels out effects when you walk in Ella's Gersmont mine, for example, as well. So Finka does do a lot. I just feel like I don't know what to say. I just don't feel like she isn't A or S, if that makes sense. Like, a finger boost will always be helpful, but I think other than that, she doesn't bring a lot to the team, which I will admit healing your team is a lot to the team. But compared to bringing that over some other operators, sometimes I just don't see it as worth it. I will accept that I'm on low HP since I know I can probably hit the heads of the enemy before they can hit mine. And personally, I would just like to bring more utility rather than the chance of healing. But that chance of healing is pretty massive. So I don't know if I should bump her up to A, but I feel like she's in a good spot in B right now. I don't know, maybe that's one you might disagree with me about, and that's perfectly fine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Finka should be bumped up or even moved down? I'm going to keep her in B for now, but I might change it later in the video. And next up, we have Flores. I'm going to put him in A. He's a great utility clearing operator. He is getting quite power creeped by Ram, however, so that is quite unfortunate. But Flores is great at clearing utility, a very underrated operator. Not really got much to say about him. I feel like people don't use him correctly enough of the time, and you can do so much, but I do think Ram will sort of overtake him, so that is something we have to worry about. But I think he sits nicely in A. Should I do a controversial take here and put Fuse in S tier? I mean, he is arguably one of the greatest utility clearing operators currently in the game. You get one cluster charge into sight and you're clearing all of this. You're clearing those Fenrir gadgets, those thorn traps, those capcan traps which are inside, those goo mines which have been buffed, by the way, those echo cameras, those Ella Gersmont mines, those frost mats, those Melusi banshees, those Goyo canisters. Fuse is the ultimate utility clearing operator. As well as this, he's also been buffed this season. He can now drill through Osa's shields as well as deployable shields which are on defense, giving him way more flexibility. Of course, he can go through hard breach charges as well. I mean, his gadget can go through hard walls, but he also has the secondary hard breach, meaning if he wants to open up holes, he can. You know, drop down hatch, you can pop it open, drop it down, get a few kills, play aggressive from the floor above. I feel like people honestly sleep on Fuse. Like, he has been progressively getting better over the past 3 years. Like, every 2 or 3 updates, Fuse has just gotten another buff, and this update is one of them. And I just feel like he's passed a lot of people by, because even if you've got like a Jaeger or a Wamai, you know, there's still not enough to stop his pellets. The moment you are over a site or beside a site, you have, you know, total dominance on clearing utility in there. And especially since how much utility there is on the defending team, you know, Fuse is incredible. Just possibly one of the most slept on attackers nowadays. So yeah, I think I'm perfectly right in saying he's S tier. Glaz, I'm going to put, oh, you know, I love Glaz. I love me some Glaz. Right, I'm going to have to put him in C tier purely just because he's an operator that doesn't bring a lot to the attacking team other than fragging potential. I love Glaz. He's actually one of my most played attackers, okay? So I want to preface this by saying I'm literally just dogging on operators I don't play. I play a lot of Blackbeard. I play a lot of Glaz, but like compared to other operators, they don't bring as much. Like compare Glaz to Fuse. Fuse brings so much more. You know, Glaz is still good. He's got grenades. He's one of the 4 attackers in the game which have grenades. And maybe that should bump him up to B tier, but I feel like, you know, there's already other ops that have grenades which are better than him. You know, I love my boy Glaz, but I don't think I can put him in anything higher than C. The next attacker we have here is Gridlock. I'm gonna put her in A or B. I think B tier. She is actually another very underrated operator. She has EMPs as well. She has the super shorty secondary as well. Great loadout. You know what? Do I put Gridlock to A tier? I think I might, honestly. Like, her gadget is very good at flank watching. She can cover more flanks than Gridlock can. I mean, sorry, than Nomad can. She has EMPs. She has a great weapon, and she has that soft destruction as well. You know what? I am gonna, you know, put Gridlock in A tier. Like, a lot of these operators are very slept on. Right, Grim, I'm gonna put him in, I'm gonna put him in B tier. Grim has gotten very good now. I think he's a great operator. He has secondary hard breach now. He's got the bailiff. He has a great primary weapon. His gadget is pretty useful now. You know, it deploys way faster. And as well as this, in Heavy Mettle, he has that new rework where you've got that bouncy option as well, so you don't have to face check. I think Grim is, you know, in a great state now. But, you know, if I'm looking at these operators and I'm like, thinking about, you know, Capitao versus Grim, I'm gonna pick Capitao because I made this debate a bunch, but Capitao, if you want to clear out a corner, you shoot a Capitao in it, that defender has to either die or move. You shoot Grim's thing in the corner, that defender, yeah, they'll be pinged, but they don't necessarily have to move. If they're behind an Azami Kiba barrier or a deployable shield, wow, okay, you know they're there. There was a chance they were there anyway. You haven't really gained much information, and that defender is still going to hold that location. Yes, they are more prone to being wallbanged, but it's like, okay, we already know you're there. That defender could just wait out the ping location, and it doesn't necessarily push them out of that cover. But with Capitao, you know, they have to move and expose themselves. So, you know, I still think Capitao is just a better version of Grim. I think Grim is in a really nice spot right now, though. I think he's still very useful. I will bring him on the team. Again, I don't want people to think when I put operators in like low positions, it means like I never want to touch them, they're awful. These are all very useful operators, but I just think like looking at Grim is kind of like, I don't really think he's like on the league of these operators, you know. Next up, we have Hibana. I'm going to put her in A tier since she is the queen of hatches, especially when maps such as, you know, Bank are played a lot. Downstairs has, what, total of 5 hatches you have to open, all of which can be reinforced by the defending team, and they can still have reinforcements downstairs. So Hibana is, you know, a must pick for maps such as Bank. No one in the game can open up as many hatches as Hibana can. Great loadout, you know, great secondary weapon. Her secondary gadgets are useful as well, you know, just bring some flashbangs. You know, she's a hard breacher. What more is to say? I just don't think she's on like, the same league as Ace. You know, Ayana is like an S tier operator. Like right now, they're considering reworking grenades purely because of her. That's how strong she is right now. I feel like a lot of people just look at Ayana though as a good gun in grenades when a massive part of her is the fact that she's an infinite drone. Like you always see people talk about Ayana and they're like, oh, she's so strong because her loadout is so good. Oh, she's so strong because she has the frag grenades. And it's like, she's also so strong because her gadget is infinite drones and intel for the attacking team. Yes, it has to refresh, but the moment one of her gadgets are shot, she just have to wait for it to reload and she can do it again. Like every single operator in this game has a limited amount of drones. Even like Flores and Brava, since they have special drones, if they get destroyed, they're out of drones. But Ayana, as long as she's alive, she has an infinite number of drones. So there's not really an operator on that caliber and attack to, you know, match that. But as well as this, like what people are saying, she has, you know, an incredible loadout, high fragging potential, high, you know, great rate with the frag grenades as well, which is good at killing people as well as destroying utility. There isn't like another well-rounded operator like that on attack right now, I don't think, to the degree which she is with the grenades. Like if some other operators had grenades, I'd maybe put them on that caliber. And, you know, like Sledge has grenades, but I don't think he's on the same caliber as Diana. I think she just has too much going for her to make her not, like, an S-tier operator. Next up, we have IQ. I want to put her in A tier, but I'm edging to B tier. I'll put her in A tier since gadgets such as Valkyrie are so prominent right now. And, you know, finding them is very useful. I just kind of wish IQ had a better secondary gadget, like maybe Hard Breach or even EMPs. If she had EMPs, that would go a long way. And, you know, maybe even give her frag grenades back. I think IQ is one of the operators that do deserve frag grenades back, and I feel like that would cement her place in A tier. So I don't know, I feel like she's sort of in the middle, like here. But her redeeming quality is the fact her gadget can spot like Valkyrie cameras and stuff like that, and you know where the electric claws are. So I definitely think that does bump her up. But I feel like she should have a tiny bit more going for her. But again, she's another one of my most played attackers right now, and yeah, an absolutely incredible operator. Next up, we have Jackal. Can I give you guys a hot take? He's not that ban worthy. Jackal is great at roam clearing, but you can easily fight back. I feel like people don't want to fight with the inconvenience of being tracked by Jackal, which is fine. And again, he is great at roam clearing, but I'm much more worried about Dokkaebi than I am Jackal. And of course, you can use them in unison. And again, I play Jackal a lot. Secondary shotgun is very useful. He's a great operator. I just feel like people worry about him too much. Like your average rank player would put Jackal straight up there and he'd be like, oh, ban that guy every time. I can't against a Jackal. And I think it's just because people don't know how to cope when they're being tracked. Like, understand that your pings are late. Understand that operator still has to, you know, potentially push you. I feel like the moment someone gets tracked by Jackal, they go, must run back to site. And then they get shot in the hallway on the back to site because it was very predictable from that Jackal or one of the other attacking operators. If you're being tracked by Jackal, fine. Understand the position you're in. Watch those entry points. Know that someone is going to try and push you out. Don't stand still on the floor for too long. Know that there are late pings. And you can fight back. Yes, there's a chance you will be killed. That's just the game. That's how the operator works. But I feel like a lot of people blow Jackal out of proportion. And like, you know, he's a great operator. What can I say? But you gotta learn to counter him a bit better. Kali, I'm also gonna put in B tier. She, you know, clears utility great. She's a phenomenal operator, but I just can't with that primary sniper. I've been trying to play her a lot recently, and I have been having quite a bit of success with her sniper. But I just think the sniper needs to have a reason to exist. Like, her lances are a great gadget, but like, if you're putting a sniper in a close quarter combat game, give me a reason for it to exist. You know, let it shoot through Azami's Kiba barriers, or let it, you know, maybe even not clash on the floor when you shoot her with it. Like, you have to, you know, give me a reason to want to use a sniper in a game like Rainbow Six Siege. If I'm playing Kali, it's because I want her gadget. I feel like her sniper should have been more in tune with her gadget as well, similar to how Kaze's pistol is more in tune with her, you know, ability. Like, I know it can shoot up in barricades, but, you know, not really much else other than that. She doesn't, and I know she does, like, not clash a little bit and expose her body, but I'm talking, like, I want this sniper to do stuff which would, you know, make me want to say, okay, I want to bring a sniper in this close quarter combat game. I don't know. I just kind of wish they'd done more of the sniper with Kali. Lion, I am going to put in A tier or B tier. I think he's probably saying it A tier. Yeah, he's like a universal gadget operator. He doesn't really have to peek to use his gadget. He's got a great loadout. He's got EMPs. He's got the Gun 6. Brings a lot to the team. He's a great support operator. He's a lot more safer than Jackal, for example. Jackal has to be in the building and sort of not be focusing on people to use his gadget, whereas Lion could just pop it from spawn and it'll scan the whole map. So he's a lot safer. Again, not calling Jackal bad at any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's in so in the A location. Now Maverick is in a weird spot. He lost nades. He got power creeped by stuff such as EMPs and secondary hard breach. He used to be up at S tier, and I don't know if I can call him S tier anymore. I don't know if I should say A or B for Maverick. He can get through any reinforced wall, which isn't like electrified. So if he can get through Caden bandit walls, he can get past mute walls. But then again, it's high risk, and he is good for clearing utility, but then you can just patch it up easily with Azami. I kind of hate myself, but I kind of want to put him in a B tier. I don't know. I kind of wish I had a tier in between A and B. Like, can he sit in the middle? By the way, the order in which the operators are in the rows don't matter, just to make that clear. Oh, I don't know. Right, I might put him in A tier, just the fact that he can bypass mute, bandit, and Kaid. So he is still useful for that, but he's just a shell of his former self, honestly. When he lost the grenades and when other options came into the game, he kind of fell off a bit. So I'll put him in A tier. I don't know. I'm a bit, you know, confused of where to put him. Next up, we have Monty. He's better than Blitz. He brings more utility than Blitz, so he's definitely not C. Monty has what? Option of hard breach and EMPs, if I'm not wrong. And he's a very good team operator. I'd say I'd put him in B tier, since just the fact you need a good team to work around him. You know, when Monty's got a good teammate, he's an A tier, but as a solo operator, he's a B tier. So I just feel like there's too many factors into making him good, which is your team, because he is a hard support operator. So I think he does, you know, sit in that little B tier. Again, not bad any stretch of the imagination, but the success of Monty just comes down to everyone else. So I think putting him in that middle ground is fair, and he does bring other stuff on his own. He can breach a wall, he can, you know, use EMPs, but you know, you can counter him easily. Gurmine can easily counter him, Echo can, Melusi can, Oryx can. And again, when it comes to those like clunky shield mechanics, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but okay, I'll keep him in B tier. Nook is an interesting one because she was an instant S tier for everyone before, but now that she's lost Silent Step, does that push her down? I don't think so. She still counters every single form of cameras in the game. She still has a very strong loadout. She still is one of the only 4 attackers with the options of grenades, and she can also bring EMPs as well. Yes, the removal of the Silent Step was a massive nerf, but she can still sneak past cameras, because we know how unreliable sound is in this game anyway. So the fact that she can still sneak past every default camera, every bulletproof camera, every Valkyrie camera, Maestro Evil Eye, you know, Echo. However, you do have to keep in mind Solace can see her when her gadget is active, so you've got that little trade-off. But even with her nerf, I still feel like Nook brings, you know, a lot to the table, and she still has that very unique way of bypassing cameras. So it was a nerf, but I don't think she's dropped down to A tier. I still think she's S tier. Someone has decided to start cutting their grass right outside my window, so I apologize if you hear that. But next up, we have Nomad. I don't know if I should put her in the same league. I might put her in the same league as Gridlock. I think they're both just equally very good operators. Again, the order of these don't matter. I just want to see them beside each other. But I think Nomad fits in A tier. She's very useful. She's very good at like keeping control once you get it. You know, the moment you take sight, pop a few of them on doorways, and you know that's you keeping sight a lot safer. So I think she fits in that A tier spot. I do think Gridlock sometimes has the upper hand with the secondary shotgun as well as the EMPs, but I think like in unison they're pretty much, you know, they're together and they're in A tier. Next up, we have Osa. She's another one of my favorite operator mains. She doesn't deserve S tier. I love Osa, but I don't think she should be S tier, maybe. I think she should also be in A tier. I know there's a lot of A tier operators, but there's a lot of great ops in this game these days. Her shields are just very useful at holding a site. They're like a flexible version of Monty. She brings EMPs, so she's already your hard support. I'd say she's actually one of the biggest, you know, EMP secondary users. So, like, you can substitute a Thatcher out for an Osa. At least that's how I use her. And I think she is just very good in A tier. I just think she brings a lot to the team. The EMPs are useful, and especially like once you have a breach open, you can just stick down an Osa shield and play an oppressive position on that breach the entire time. She can be countered by impact nades, so you do have to be aware of that, but usually you should be able to have them on the swing anyway if you're already oppressing that angle. Recruit kind of stuck his way in there. I mean, honestly, like, this is unironic for a minute. If Rook was in the game, he would like kind of be in A tier. Like, that's not even a joke, because he would bring 2 secondary gadgets. Like, unironic Recruit in A tier, but I'll leave him out of the list. Sense is unfortunately just a D tier operator. I think their gadget has potential, but it's just too all over the place. It's inconsistent. You don't know where it's gonna go. There are very useful setups you can do if you learn it, but even in a structured 5-stack, there is just a lot of room for error with Sense, where it kind of just makes me think they should be like D tier. Like, there's that thing for Ram where you can change the direction of their gadget. They should add that for Sense. You know, if Sense throws it and it wants to go left, do that. But I just think Sense having the essence of a frag grenade, sorry, a smoke grenade, will always just be a bit temperamental, since smoke grenades in this game are something which people don't utilize correctly, and sometimes it can aid the defender, and especially since Warden's the most played defender right now, which is an instant counter to Sense. I really want to make Sense useful, but I can't deny that they're just, you know, too temperamental, and, you know, got them down in D tier. You know, we'll call this F tier. Next up, we have Sledge. I'm gonna put him in A tier. I know some people maybe want Sledge in S tier. He is a very easy to use operator. He has that breaching capability. He's got grenades. I think it's just the fact he has to get a lot more up close and personal than Ram or Buck or Flores and all that do. I think that fits him in A. You know, Sledge is Sledge. I think he's fine. I think this A tier is literally just like perfect operators that don't really need a touch. S, maybe they don't need a touch, but they are a bit strong. And then it's sort of like, yeah, it could be useful. Sometimes meh, and then no. You know what I mean? So I think Sledge fits in that. He's perfect. He's fine. You know, don't touch him. Now, Thatcher is an obvious S tier. They literally had to make an entire secondary gadget based on his main gadget because he was banned that much. And because it was that much useful of a gadget. Like, Thatcher is like the best attacker in the game. There's no debate here. He is attack. He counters pretty much everything. But since he's banned that much, a lot of people, you know, don't even really play him. But he's, you know, he is the attacker. He is him. He is the S tier of S tier attackers. Thermite, if he's in the same situation as Abana, just another great hard breacher. I just think Ace has the upper hand on both of them. Same with Maverick as well. I just think Ace is him as well. Ace is him for the hard breachers. But, you know, Thermite is Thermite. You know, box standard siege, gets the job done. Perfect operator. Twitch, do I put her in the same league as Brava? I mean, the F2 is quite hard to control for most people, but she does bring 4 cameras with destructive utility. So I think, no, maybe put her in here as well with the other A tier operators. The big thing that made Twitch a lot better in my opinion was the fact that there was no range drop off now with her zappy, so you can, if you want to, just zap stuff from across the map, which I think is very useful. Yeah, I'm trying to not put them all in A tier, but you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put my honest opinion. So I think she fits in A tier as well. All right, only a few attackers left, unless I've not missed any. I don't believe I have. I think I know my op icon's good enough. Next on, we have Ram. Now, I think in her current state, she is S tier, since she can just, she's uncounterable for the most part. They did say, at the current point of upload, by the way, this video might come a bit later after upload, since I will be on vacation, so I had to pre-record this. There might be some patch notes changes when this video goes live. However, at the current point of upload, the only thing that's going to be changing when the season launches is she's going to have 3 gadgets instead of 4, which she currently has on the test server. But even with 3, she is, you know, is unstoppable. Mute jammers don't stop her. Only if she's in the radius of activation it stops her, but if it drives into a mute jammer, it doesn't stop it. It goes straight through her running gates. It goes through Kiba barriers, castle barricades, bandit batteries, any yokai drone that's on the floor. It'll go through an Eligur's mine. It will go through a frost trap, a Goyo canister, an ADS, an electric law, a Capcan trap if it's in its way, a goo mine. It will go straight through a bulletproof Maestro cam, any bulletproof cameras as well. It'll go through a Melissy Banshee, like I said, mute jammer already, rook armor if it's on the floor, a thorn trap, a Kona Station, basically anything. It's very hard to counter this operator currently at the point of recording this. So the fact that she has that and she has that insane vertical capability as well, there's literally nothing stopping her. She's very broken in her current state. Next up, we have Ying. I think she is another A tier operator. She can just flash people like crazy. She brings secondary heartbeat. She's very good once you take site control. She's very good for taking site control, shall I say. The moment you've cleared any WIZE or Jaeger ADS, you chuck one of these bad boys in, play aggressive as hell, take site control. Just gotta worry about this little 1.5 boy down here, Mr. Warden. Very situational operator, but right now, since everyone's using him for his gun, high pick rate, so that's the thing you do have to worry about. So yeah, but Ying, you know, A operator. Hot take by Kudos once again. Zero's going in S tier. He's got 4 of his deployable cameras as well as 2 default cameras, meaning he's got 6 cameras in total. You can literally watch an entire map with him. He's got the hard breach charge, which is massive. He's got a great loadout, and as well as that, the 4 deployable cameras he has, you can destroy utility with it as well. It's like his Twitch drones app. People sleep on Zero the same way they sleep on Fuse and Buck. Like he is S tier in my opinion. Literally nothing bad about him. And by the looks of it, our final attacker here is Zofia, and she is just another A tier operator. I didn't want to keep putting people in A tier, but I feel like, you know, does she deserve to be any lower? I think, you know, maybe even B tier. No, she just brings the impact. She brings the great loadout. She brings the concussions. She does her job perfectly fine. Then there's nothing bad to say about Zofia. Now this is a little bit at the end of the tier list where I make some final decisions, sometimes move some ops around a little bit. I am going to do that a tiny bit. I am going to push Osa into S tier, since I will say she is the main alternative for a lot of people to Thatcher when Thatcher is banned, since she does have those secondary EMPs, and just it really accompanies her gadget very well, since she's already bringing a lot on top of those EMPs. And yeah, I think she is S tier. I will bump her up a little bit. Jackal, I will bump up to A tier, since I kind of don't think he's just on level with those operators. I feel like these operators here, like, they're really good, but they need to, like, a little bit more spice to them, if you know what I mean. And I think Jackal's got that spice. Trying to think if there's anyone I want to move from A tier though, because my A tier is a bit clustered. I mean, the only one maybe would be Zofia, but is Zofia massively, you know, is there a lot wrong with her? Not much. I mean, I do prefer Ash nowadays over Zofia. I just prefer her breaching round compared to hers. The concussion is good. It can stop plants, so then again that pushes her back up to A for me. But looking at this list, I don't even see anyone I think that shouldn't be an A. Heck, I'd even consider now bumping up Hibana to S tier. I think I might call the list at this, just because she is the main hatch person, and a lot of maps are getting hatches all over the place nowadays. You know, there's a lot of hatches in maps, and she is very versatile with her gadget. Then yeah, I think it is fair to bump her up. And so I think we can call that my official Rainbow Six Siege attacker tier list as of year 8 season 3 Operation Heavy Mettle. I'm going to be posting one for defense as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about my tier list. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. So be sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, dislike it if you did not, subscribe if you're new. I shall catch you later. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.